Howdy everybody. Hey, this is Brian, Indiana Creek Gold. We're going to do something a little different today and a little bit of the same old. First, I want to chit chat a little bit. I want to give a big thank you to Gold Pans and Suntans for running my playlist continuously for days. I am, after tomorrow, I should be within about 30 hours of having my 3,000 hours, where I can get all kind of cool upgrades here on YouTube, and looking forward to that. Been working at it for a long time. Also, I am 13 people away from having my 2,000 subscribers. So, but yeah, he reached out to me, and which I think Richard has been too. I know little brother Vendetta's been playing, getting me some watch time, getting really close, and greatly appreciated. Gold Pen and Suntans, I have been subscribed for a while. One of his stickers are on her dredge, and as per probably a lot of us, a lot of my actual YouTube viewing on channels is done late at night after everybody's went to bed on my TV, or sometimes in the morning when I'm drinking coffee, getting going on the TV. So I'm not commenting, I'm not hitting the like button. I'm watching your videos, giving you views and watch time, and I apologize for that, but I am really guilty of that. But what we are going to do is, and I say all the time, I suck at panning, which is sort of a misnomer, sort of a yes and no. I can pan really well. I have a lot of experience panning, let's put it that way. And I can even go through our garnet sands, which are horrible, and find our gold that we have to zoom in on the phone. But I have a problem with patience. And that is what a big part of panning gold is patience. Practice, experience, patience, and a little bit of equipment. So we're just going to go through some prospecting equipment on a budget, which I always am. So we're just going to go through a few things, and then we're going to give a little panning tutorial. Like I said, I might not be the best person for that, but especially somebody starting out, I can give you some tips. And like I said, I have experience. I'm not the best panner in the world. Dylan Miller Prospecting, I've spent time with him on the water. He's been here at the cabin, right here at the prospecting table before, down over the hill finding gold, he and his kids. And we met up down at Cottonwood. So I mean, besides all of us watch him on his YouTube channel, I've been shoulder to shoulder with him on the creek, and that man can pan. And there's several others out there. Little brother Mike's good. Ron's really good panning. Me and Rain Man, we can find some gold in our pan. So we'll leave it at that. But I found this the other day. It's Bear Prospecting. Go check them out. I will try to remember to put a link to their Facebook and website in the description of this video, and always check out the descriptions of my videos. There's cool stuff in there. People you may not have checked out that you need to. Information like this, info a lot of times on how to get a hold of me. If for some reason I did not put contact info for any questions, contact whatever, paid or orders in the description, you can always go to the about section on my page, on my YouTube page, and it has my phone number, my cell phone number, and my email. So not a whole lot of people out there, and even pay dirt vendors have their personal cell phone number out there. But yeah, I'm easy to get a hold of if you want to look. But yeah, like I said, I always have links to stuff, channels, A lot of times, especially on my shorts, I will list all 15 of us Indiana Boys Prospecting Club brothers on there. So yeah, you might find something cool on there. But I said, starting out, you can, even an experienced prospector, like I sort of like to classify myself as, I don't want to spend a bunch of money or 3 times the money on a piece of equipment, especially just because it is specialized and so-called air quotes made for prospecting. You're going to need a pan. You can get by starting out prospecting with a good shovel. Always have a good shovel, a couple buckets, and a trowel. You don't even need the bucket. You can get by with a trowel and a pan, and you can be gold prospecting. But a couple buckets for material, a good pan, a big pan, you can move a lot of material, find a lot of gold that way, and a trowel. Like I said, and I recommend a shovel. I mean, I see a lot of guys with those short little backpack shovels or whatever, and it makes my back hurt just watching them do that. And I can't imagine doing that all day. So, like I said, a trowel and a pan will get you going. Like I said, I recommend a shovel when you go out, and a classifier. Even just panning, a classifier is really good to have. Classifiers specific to gold panning or gold prospecting per se are not cheap in general. But I can show you a few things that does the job and are really, really budget friendly. This right here, I think it's a 1/4 inch. I bought, they have whole sets of these that goes down to, I don't know, 60 mesh probably or whatever, but they stack on top of each other. So you could literally stack a 1/2 inch on top of this and then down to 1/8 inch and then, you know, on down. They have this little ring and they stack on top of each other, which is really cool. You get all your classifications in one shot. This also is probably like 20 freaking bucks. You know, I bought it years ago. I mean, it lasts. I mean, I bought this thing probably 5 years ago or so, but it was pretty expensive. It's pretty spicy for a piece of screen and plastic. Same way with these are great. What a classifier, especially if you have a sluice or taking material home or whatever, a classifier that sits down in a bucket is amazing. My buddy Mike H up there from Indy that comes up prospecting, he's got one of the high dollar ones like you see Klesh use, that sits down inside your bucket, metal, with just like a big deep fry basket, which you could probably find one that size and get by with it just fine. But he says like 70, 80 bucks, but it will last forever. And it is the fastest classifier I've ever used in my life. So, you know, if you have the extra money, you know, it would be worth that investment. But you can also do this right here. I have several of these and I use them now, still, all the time. Bucket, a 2-gallon bucket or like a 2.5, something like that would be ideal. This is a little smaller than that. And I've got a square shovel that drops stuff down in there good. A lot of times I will, if this is sitting down in there and I'm using a regular shovel and in a hurry, I will miss a few bigger rocks and drop down in there, which ain't that big a deal. But I simply, you can see there's a couple different size holes. It's not pretty at all. Very, very, very functional. The handles broke off of this one. And what I'm going to do is take a piece of stiff rope, pull down through there, and run up through there, that or a piece of wire. I'm going to make another handle for this. But I took a drill bit, which I've got long drill bits, being a pretty much retired contractor, I got all kinds of random stuff, but I used long drill bits where I could reach in from the inside and drill them out, most of them, just so these things, the bird deals, wasn't sticking out on the inside. And I scraped a bunch of these off. I must got tired of cleaning those out when I did this one. But you can do this in any size you want. This actually could use some bigger holes, because I have found pieces of gold that would have to be turned up lengthways to slide through these holes. So, but yeah, you find you a bucket, drill holes in it, drop that down inside your bucket with water, throw your material in there. More ideal with a handle, but I've been using this one, just shaking around, two-handing it in the bucket, and it works really, really quick, actually, and pretty good. It cost me 15 minutes, of time, and it's spare buckets. So compared to this, like an XP classifier, I don't know how much those are, but I know the big Garrett ones are probably 20, 30 bucks, and if I was going to buy a big one, I would suggest one with metal mesh like this, because like the Garrett ones I have used, Ron F has a couple of them. I had one and the whole side busted out of it using it when it was real cold. The plastic ones, especially if you're pushing down in there, breaking up clay and rocks and stuff like that, throwing shovels full of big rocks in them, they bust, crack eventually. You can get the ones with the wire. I don't think they even cost a whole lot more. I don't know if there's enough of a difference to matter, but always get the wire ones, is my suggestion there. And another thing, XP, we're going to go through pans here in a second. This XP classifier, which this thing's been MIA, my big Garrett. Highly recommend that. If anything, one small pan and this. You can move a lot of material with these. You can pan small stuff with these. Really durable, really cheap, and it's huge. But see how that sits in there? These classifiers, XP classifiers you get in the XP pan kits, do not fit in a 5-gallon bucket. And I can actually demonstrate that here. Sits on top of it, which is horrible. You're losing material. You can't have it in water. So not recommended for that. If you're out prospecting, test panning, looking for that spot to run your dredge, to just set dig pan, to dig material for your sluice, high bank, or whatever, this does set down in here really good. So you can fill that up with water, shovel your material on here, shake it around on your XP pan, and classify that stuff great. So I think that was obviously the purpose. They send these out with the kits here. Yeah, but they don't fit in the bucket. But I have used this a lot with a bucket, and what I do is I set it down in there. I fill the bucket up with water. You obviously can't put a bunch of material in there, but I can fill it halfway up, and I will hold it. You can see there. Let's go upside down for a minute. That down in there, and you can work it around. Definitely not ideal. Better with two hands when you can hold it one spot and work it back and forth. Slide it. You can make it work sucks trying though, compared to even my bucket. That's my bucket works fast. Free. Same way with, I said this, expensive. I have a set of these. This was in a tote. Something got tossed in there and it ripped it out. So I cut all this stuff out that was nasty and frayed out, and it's starting to do it again. But this is probably 50 mesh, 60 mesh, maybe 60 mesh probably. I got this and a 30 mesh one, just like this, for about $15, okay? If you were to buy this same thing, prospecting supply, you know, as a prospecting deal, if not the same thing, it's made the same, it would cost you $20 each probably. I looked at baking supplies, okay? These are flour sifters, a set, and they had different mesh sets that you could get. I think I paid $15 for the set of 2 shipped, Amazon Prime, instead of paying $40 plus shipping for the same set. So you want a small classifier to classify it down, say for your Miller table, even panning, but Miller table, blue bowl, one of them spiral wheel deals, even your small cleanup sluice, big difference in price between a flour sifter and a sifter for dirt and gold. Same thing. Same way with this right here. You see me all the time on here doing stuff plus and minus kitchen strainer, especially pay dirt. That's usually all I ever do. If it's a, you know, a couple pounds of pay dirt. I don't know what mesh that is. It's way bigger than 30, but it's probably 1/8 inch or so. I would say 1/8 inch mesh. $6, $5 at the local DG, and they're everywhere. There's Dollar General everywhere. You can get that. And this, you can pay $8 a piece for like the spray bottle deals that like the football team drinks out of, that works great for cleaning out your pan or your little cleanup sluice. Or you can go to the Dollar General and pay like $1.50 for a condiment bottle that does the same thing. So that's what I do. Magnet is nice to have. Get rid of the heavies, the magnetics before you pan, makes it a lot easier. You can buy one. You can go over, visit coulterminingmagnets.com and buy all kind of these. I think mine's the Magic Bit. This is the Magic Bit Max. This was the second one of these that broke. The plastic, I think he might be using different material now. I don't know. But this is plastic. They both of them broke when it was cold. So, yeah. But I have the magnet for it right here. And it is a strong magnet. It's been laying out here. There's holes in the bag. I mean, it's been laying out here forever. But any good strong magnet and a bag, and this probably maybe isn't the best material. I think this is material from over the hill. Magnet in a bag. Oh, I guess we was into some good heavies. See that? Not ideal. It's wet. This stuff's damp. but you get the gist. Even a really good damn refrigerator magnet will help, or like the magnets off that you hide your keys in that stick to your car. They usually have a little screw that holds it onto that key box. One of them in the back works great. And you can, I don't know if I can do this one-handed without getting a bunch of magnetics all over it, but just two-handed, it's a lot easier to peel that bag off of that magnet and then dump your heavies, your magnetics, into another pan, get rid of it. Always pan through it though, because there is some gold. A lot of times, if you have a magnet like this, which these are pretty cheap. I think this came from, I don't remember. These are pretty cheap. They're made really cheap. This thing fell apart, I don't know how many times. But this has the spring in it that slides. Hold on, let me get this down in there. It had a aluminum cover on there. So you stick it down in there, and when you have your magnets, if you had your aluminum lid on there, you would hold it over around, and you could pick up your magnetics, drop them, pick up your magnetics, drop them, and it'll separate the gold a little bit. Pick it up, hold it over your pan, boom, magnetics fall off. These are pretty cheap. They suck though. They're not great because they got 3 little bitty cheesy magnets in them. And Sluice Fox, maybe, I think that's what it was, on one of them kits. But you can buy really strong magnets, and that's just a bolt holding that in there. But you can slap a really strong magnet on there, because these things are just like glued on there, and put the cap back on there, wrap some good electric tape around there, the high dollar stuff that's waterproof, and be right as rain. They have little pin ones of these too, but this is pretty cheap. Magnet's good to have, especially if you're doing pay dirt, because a lot of your pay dirt is going to have a lot of added heavies in it. So let me take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back and go through some pans. All right, let's go over a big variety of pans I got spread out here. These are the 2 basic pans that I use all the time. This one actually has a crack in it, but it does just fine. Look the same. This one does not have a lip in the bottom. This one has a little lip in the bottom. Y'all see me doing running cons up here or doing pay dirt. I put the bigger classifications in this. That lip catches the bigger gold, small gold too, obviously, while you're getting rid of those rocks. And the main difference, besides it catching the bigger gold, because a lot of times when you're panning, you are more likely to miss a little picker a lot of times than smaller gold, because it will simply roll out of your pan to the rocks. But like I said, if you shake it down good, this has a tendency to catch it. This I use for the smaller classifications. You can pan it off, just fine. Your riffles catches that smaller stuff. Take your time. But when you're panning back and you're washing your blonde sands, heavies down to the bottom of your pan, gold still up here in material, you can rinse it off, or that small stuff out of here, whereas you sort of have to flip it to get that stuff up over this lip, and which in turn throws gold down the pan a lot of times. Smaller classification, no lip. Bigger classification, I use the lip. I've had these for years and years and years, and I have thought that I have ordered these pans a couple different times. These are really flexible, both of them. The ones that I have ordered that look exactly the same, if anybody has a couple of these, get with me, we'll do some trading or whatever. The ones I have ordered that look just like this are the hard plastic, like this stuff here, like the hex pan, like the XP pan. They're not flexible, and I like that. Like when you're starting out, you get a panning kit or whatever. A lot of times they'll send you this little pan, which is great for a beginner or for finishing. The thing is, you pan out your material is a little bit harder to do the spin around and wash back, because the water tends to slosh around a lot more because it don't have room to move. But if you're doing a spoonful of material at a time, which if you're panning out, fines, you will be doing that. Or if you're a beginner prospector, or just getting going panning, that's how I started out. Basically, panning small amounts at a time. You're less likely to lose it, and it's cool every time you roll it back and you got a few little specks of gold compared to a big smile in the pan. Y'all know when you're first starting out, seeing those flakes, and you can make it last a lot longer that way. But these work for beginner. They work. I would recommend at least one this size. This is a 9-inch pan. This is probably a 6 or 5 or something like that. This works a little better. You can get your action going with the water. These are cheap. Everybody, you see those around. They're everywhere. And they work. They work just fine. On the water, in your garage, whatever. If you're doing pay dirt, starting out, these will do you just fine. I would recommend something bigger like this, eventually at least. You will learn a lot more about panning gold and the movement of gold in your pan and the heavies, and being able to control your water with a pan this size with a big opening in the bottom. Like I said, you can control your water a lot better. So, and if you're going out prospecting and all you have is a pan and your shovel, speaking of shovel, let me show you something. Oh, we're upside down. What happened here? There we go. I don't know what's going on there. I'm backwards now for some reason. But either way, another dollar store purchase, another Dollar General purchase, the big DG. I bought a couple of these. I think one's behind the seat of my truck, my old one. I had taken, I think I put it over a rock, my old one, and took a hammer and beat these sides down to where it was more concave, more of a curve to it. But I'll tell you what I use this for. I don't use it for digging material. When I'm running my sluice, a lot of times sitting down kills me. Y'all know that you sitting on a bucket for hours feeding that sluice. I like to stand up a lot of times. I can reach down in my bucket with this, just bend over a little bit, scoop up material, put it on my sluice. When I'm sitting, I can reach in the bucket, get material with this $5 shovel, put it in my sluice, and not be bending over, hunched over my bucket all day. Highly recommended. But I digress. If you're going out on the big water, this would be the first thing. This would be what I would get. If you're going out to a creek somewhere or what have you, panning for gold, I would recommend the Garrett Super Sluice. A lot of times you can catch these on sale. They're probably more now, but I think I paid $10 for this, shipping included. But I don't know how much they are. Probably $20 regular. Well worth it. If you are to only have pans, 2 pans, I would guarantee that will do everything you need. Garrett Super Sluice and one of these or one of these for finishing. That's everything you need. Right there. Like I said, class fire that you can make for free. Shovel, you're set. Go find gold. Highly recommended. I broke that hitting it on a rock when it was 25 degrees and we were out prospecting in December, January, February, whatever. You can look back at my videos. We prospected here and up the road every month of the year. But yeah, once it gets really, really cold, this plastic does get brittle. XPs, y'all, ones that have been around for a while, seen these XP kits. They were the rave a year ago or so, and people still, I like them. It's really, really comparable to the Garrett. It's lighter by quite a bit lighter. You can move that same amount of material. I like that big lip. Like I said, if you're just shoveling in there, but this will do the same thing. You can work it down to that. And then everybody loves these when you're working down. Let me zoom in on that right here. The snake skin. When you're panning down your finds at the end, the snake skin, you can watch the heavies go down. The gold, this catches the gold. When I get down to that, I just pan it back. I don't keep washing it. I don't use that riffle, then that riffle, and then that, and then that. I mean, you can, and that's what they're made for. I don't. Yeah. I mean, if I'm just have smaller material, classified smaller, I would use that instead of that. You know, the big riffles, just so you let material go off there. If you just got small material, everything's just going to hang up in those, but those will catch the gold. But like I said, I pan it back. I don't use the finishing deal like that. Usually like a lot of people do. So speaking of that, I have used that and it works. You see me with these all the time. Hex pan, the Hex from the Prospecting channel and his Prospecting channel on YouTube. They're the ones that invented and market these things. You can buy them on eBay or eBay for about 25 bucks, and then they're $12, $15 ship. So around $40 for these. But the point we was making was talking about the snake skin. These micro riffles, I hit the button, shut it off. These micro riffles here that are on the hex pan, I think works better than the snake skin. That's me. I think that is my opinion. It might be just comparable to panning style, whatever. I've used both. I think that works better if that's how you pan, if you run that small stuff down. And the hex pan, really comparable to the XP. Like I said, you see me use these for years. I have given probably a couple dozen of these away, or close to that. And they were courtesy of little brother Vendetta. Has set me up with stacks of these a couple different times because he knows I do exactly what I do with them. I give them away. I hand them out. I've handed them out on the water. I handed a bunch out, well, several out down at Cottonwood. We were down there this year. I've given them to every prospector that guest prospector that I've had on the water, either here or up the road, has left with a hex pan. They work great. They work great. They do take a little bit of practice getting used to using them. And we still have one more of these to give away this year. I promised to give 4 of these away. We still have one more. We're going to wait a little bit later for that, though. So you'll have another chance to get one of these. But I highly recommend these too. Like I said, they take a little bit of practice, but that stuff works just like a sluice. I mean, you can pan it off. A lot of times I'll pan it off straight, just using it, letting that sluice riffles catch that, and then you can run it down the point, and all your gold will collect right there in that little corner. And you have your medium-sized riffles on both sides too, and then you have your micro riffles. You also have little gutters here to flush your gold out, run your gold out, or your heavies, whatever. So you do have to be sort of mindful of those when you're panning with this, especially if you're panning it flat like that. I tend to lean it a little bit when I do it to keep it away from this edge, and let the gold that's a little bit heavier, if I'm leaning it, will work its way toward that center so we can get it in that corner. We'll talk about sluices here for a bit. Y'all see me using, that's the prototype. I don't know if there's any more like that. Prototype RPE. I've got 2 flares for it. I can use it as 2 regular size RPEs or a double length one. Of course, we've got the bridge sluice. Been down under the bridge for years. The RPEs are great. It's the lightest sluice you can get on the market by far. I mean, a huge percentage lighter than anything else you can get. The newer ones, I have all OG ones. The newer ones, the material's a little bit more flexible. I mean, I had talked to Eric several times. It was during COVID. His supplier for this material, they couldn't get it anymore after COVID, I do believe. So he had to go with a different supplier, different material. They still work the same, work great. They just flex a little more. Not enough to matter. It doesn't make a difference. It's just different material. Like I said, this is more dense foam, a lot more like plastic. But I ran a Gold Hog sluice weeks ago with my buddy up the road, and it took a lot of tuning to get. I needed about an inch of water running through it for it to work right. I can have almost no water. I can have it blasting. Of course, I have blown everything, all the material, gold out of it, have it running too hot. But any sluice that you decide to buy on the market is going to catch gold. Or they wouldn't be making them, they wouldn't be selling them. You can get the round irrigation pipe like they use in ditches, off your gutters, stuff like that, is corrugated. You can cut one of those in half and lay that damn thing down in the water. Make it, 2-3 foot, 4, whatever. You can even mount something on the sides to make it stiffer, and you have a sluice that will catch gold. Seriously, like I said, those corrugated drain pipes, cut one in half, they're just loose. It's not optimum, but if you make that thing long enough, it will catch all the gold. I'll just about guarantee it if you don't overload it. So, once you move up past panning, the next thing I'll recommend to get is a sluice. You see these smaller versions of these, bigger versions of these. Dream Mat here. Unless you're going out prospecting, looking for some gold, playing around, just want to sit and relax and do some sluicing on a creek that you have to backpack stuff into, these work. I started out with like a foot long one with micro V-mat in it, and then it had a metal deal grate that sat on top of it, and it caught gold. But If you have a bucket of material and you run it through this slow enough, I mean the speed that you should, you can pan through that with a big Garrett XP, hex pan, whatever, probably faster than what you can run through that sluice. I think these are mainly set up for recirculating setup at home. Speaking of, I had a meeting tomorrow that I need to reschedule with a gal to get stuff working on to get a universal header patented that I have figured out. Would work on one of these size 4-inch up to probably 6-inch, maybe 8. I haven't tried on 8, but once I get going, there will probably be different sizes, but we're getting that going, getting it patent pended, and then we will be showing that off to the world. Sort of excited about that. Maybe instead of Indiana Boys Prospecting Club, we can do the Indiana Boys Prospecting gear. But like I said, these are mainly set up for recirculating deals, in my opinion. They're not super practical for being out on the water, running buckets of material. Simple as that. But I think, and there's the hand dredges out there. We'll go ahead and, I should have got the one I have. It's a little, one of the hand dredge made out of PVC pipe that you see everybody has. Rain Man has one that has a jar on it that collects the material, which is really cool. The one I have, it has a plunger in it. You suck the material up and then sling it into a pan or bucket that's right by you real quick while stuff's falling out. But it does get gold. You can get a lot of material out. I highly recommend these. Y'all have seen me using these Crevison Reinhardt dredge, and this is something for you experienced seasoned prospectors. Get one of these. Go on Amazon and Amazon Prime, whatever, and search up handheld dredge, and you'll find one of these. They're around 30 bucks, just under 30 bucks, I think. I have got several of these along the way and have given them away. I have had one sent to little brother Vendetta out in Arizona. I do believe I sent one to our buddy Rob, Rocky Mountain Life Prospecting in Colorado. I had one sent to Ron F. Richard actually won one a few months ago on my channel. Rain Man, highly recommend these. I have probably come close to paying for this one this year, Crevison. This thing slides in and out. You can get way down in them cracks. It gets plugged up some. You can see it's a little dinged up there at the bottom where I stuffed wire down in there. I just carry one of these flags like they stick in your yard. I usually carry one of them in my backpack all the time. These are what we use to go across the nozzle of our dredge too. So they break sometimes, so we can replace that. But I use this to clean these out when it does get plugged up, because it does happen on your, but highly recommend these. Highly recommend it. And snuffer bottles. You need a snuffer bottle. I guess I should have covered that right from the beginning. I don't know what I was thinking. You need a snuffer bottle. I would recommend buying a Garrett Gold Guzzler. I said, I can't believe the things you needed. The pan and trowel, and you need something to put the gold in. But you can buy the cheap ones that you see, just a plain clear, like this colored plastic, a little bit smaller nozzle. You can get like 6 packs of those for the price of one of these. This is probably 10, 12 bucks. You could probably get several of those small ones. I said at least a half dozen of the small cheap snuffer bottles for the price of a Garrett Gold Guzzler. This will outlast a 6-pack of the cheap ones. I promise you. The plastic, if it gets cold or out in the sun, they will crack. And the plastic on those gets to where it gets so soft where it won't draw it up. They just suck. So they work. But like I said, it's worth spending the money on the Garrett Gold Guzzler, like I said, because it will outlast a half dozen of the cheap ones any day. You see, I've had several of these along the way. XP has a snuffer bottle that's really, really good too. That would be my second choice. Thing about it, it's actually stiffer plastic, I think, than the Garrett's, the bottle wise. The nozzle is smaller on the XP. So any small pickers, and some that probably wouldn't even be pickers, flakes, you're going to have to pick up tweezers, fingers, whatever, and put in there, because the XP, like I said, nozzle's a lot smaller. But yeah, sorry I didn't include that at the beginning. We're way longer ran into this than what I planned. So we'll throw the panning video out there here soon. And like I said, I want to thank everybody for the support. Like I said, we're almost up to that 3,000 hours. Gold pans, suntans greatly helped with that the last few days, and that is greatly appreciated, along with everybody else that has helped out, followed along the way. I've got a lot of you on the channel that were here from the beginning. I mean, double-digit times. And like I said, we're 13 people away, a dozen from hitting 2K. So been an amazing ride. Lots more to come. Rain Man's going to be here tomorrow, and we'll probably hopefully find some more big chunky gold up there at the honey hole. But until next time, see y'all later. Thanks again for the support over the years, and hopefully a lot more fun to come.